posture you'll see on tour.
Huh. And I'm more upright than this.
Way too much upright.
Okay.
Okay, I've got that. Good. John, I worked a little bit on your putting posture, and it's much better now. We still need to tweak it a little bit. I've got Tiger to the right, and the main thing I had you do was tilt over more, and the amount of tilt in your spine is the same as Tiger. Y'all are similar heights. The main thing I was trying to get you to do is to let there be a little bit of a break in your elbows and not have perfectly straight arms. And you can see that Tiger has a little bit of a bend in his elbows. You have a little bit more bend, and you could soften that a little bit. The biggest difference is he stands a little bit taller in his legs, and he unlocks his knees. But I certainly don't have a problem with you standing a little bit taller as long as you don't lift the spine up. Now again, I'm not sure if that particular putter fits you. I can't remember if I thought it was too short or too long. It may have been, I thought it was too long, but it would not be if you stood a little bit taller in your knees. So you certainly could stand a little bit taller in your knees and try to look a little bit more like what you see Tiger set up. I think he has probably a little bit better posture than you from the waist down, but I like your setup from the waist up. I like your tilt in your spine and your angles in the elbow. Hold it just a fraction longer. Good. Back. We're doing a little toe to here. Okay. We're not aiming at anything. We're just going to set up that ball and do a little toe and hold this finish. Little toe and hold it finish. Okay. Little toe and hold your finish. Same stroke. Good. Little toe and hold your finish. Good. So that's your little toe stroke today. Let's do that little toe stroke again.
Little toe stroke. I'm going to remember that.
Smooth to the little toe and then forward. Good. Good. Okay. You probably did that. Not a bad start. Yeah, just don't go any, just kind of stay for an iron. Now on a scale of, that was a good one, had a little draw on it. Now on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being as hard as you possibly could swing, which we would never want a golfer to do. But arbitrarily, give me a number that you think you're swinging right now. 4 or 5 or 6?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is that last one, was that closer to what your on the course swing speed would be?
When I'm doing it right, yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't feel. Usually when I swing too fast, I either chop it or it just shoots off
Okay.
to the right.
All right. What you'll find when you do watch that video, I talk a little bit about your setup, and that you have a tendency to be too far out here. As you came through this left arm, I don't know if you've ever heard the phrase chicken wing.
Mm-hmm.
You have a tendency for this left arm to kind of come off the side like this instead of being in here. Elbows. You want to hit the ball with your elbows kind of close to each other, like that. You don't want to suck.
Okay.
But your separation, your arms need to be more connected to your body through here. See, my triceps are resting on my body here. They're not out here. In fact, when you watch the pros, when they hit the ball, this elbow is literally touching almost their hip. It's not away from them. They're not coming out. They're not coming out like this. They keep that in right there. Keep that in. Now, one of the reasons you're going to have difficulty
being in these really good impact positions where the arms are connected is because you set up disconnect.
Okay.
And so you, instead of setting up here, you're here and you're more like this. And I need you to stand taller and closer. Let's get in here. So we're going to be much more upright. Down the line a little bit more. So we're going to kind of just, I want you to have a more dynamic swing that's more geometrically sound so that your core of your body can start participating more and it's not just your hands and arms. So to get that feeling, I want you to get your grip and just let your arms go straight out and then slowly let them fall and rest on your chest. Right now your elbows are somewhat close to each other. Good. And the other thing that you're doing well right now, Ben Hogan called it sunny side up. You want the creases kind of going up in the air as if you're a volleyball player bumping a ball. I don't know if you play volleyball. You don't do it with the elbows out. You tuck them in. And you want that feeling here. You don't want this feeling. So you want it more like that.
Okay.
Now to get the club on the ground, just keep your legs somewhat. Don't flex your knees yet. I want you just to tilt until the club kind of hits the ground. And now just unlock your knees, but not overflex them.
Okay. Boy, it feels like my head's right over the ball.
Yeah, we'll adjust that in a minute. I just really, ooh, man. You're going to like the way that looks. I know you don't like the way it feels. But when you see the old posture against the pro,
Yeah.
and then you see this posture against that pro, you say, man, that new posture certainly looks more like the pro than my old one.
On the left, John, is your setup before I made some adjustments. And on the right is Grant Waite, who I use frequently as one of the good swing model to develop some good fundamental positions. He's considered one of the best ball strikers during the 90s when he played on the PGA Tour. He's now one of the top instructors of tour players. I've drawn a blue line from the center of the shoulders down to the ground at 90 degrees. And you can see how much further you reach out with your hands than Grant does. The other thing that's pretty obvious is let's first look at the spine angle. This angle here for you in the back is about 63 degrees. Grant's has a little bit more tilt in his spine, just a fraction more, maybe 7 or 8 degrees. So you could tilt a little bit more. More obviously is the angle you have from the center of your hips to the knee and to the center of the ankles. That's 127 degrees at the knee. And Grant has 155, so there's almost a 20 degree difference there in the knee. So you squat a lot more, and I would like you to stand just slightly taller. And as you stand taller, that should swing the hands more under you a little bit. So that would be a better position. Now on the right is your new setup that I put you in, and you can see now it's much taller, much more like Grant had. Your hands are about the same place on the blue line that Grant had his. The butt end of that handle is right on the blue line. Let's look at that angle in the hips. So that's very good. 153 there versus the 127. Your spine angle could be slightly, it's about the same as it was. One could tilt a little bit more, but that's still, I really like the legs a lot better. Everything there looks a lot better. There's Grant on the left now, and you can see how his hands are on the blue line just like yours are. So that's very good. His spine angle's just a few degrees different. It's about 6 degrees more tilt than yours, and I'm kind of just roughly drawing a line there. So His knee, the angle from his hip to his knees, then back down to the ankle is now very similar to what you're doing. There's only, again, only 3 or 4 degrees of difference based on my rough drawing. So that's a much more solid foundation setup. It's going to allow your geometry of your golf swing to work in your favor now. Here's Tiger, and again, his hands are right underneath his shoulders. In fact, they're a little bit inside the blue line more than Grant is. The flex in your legs now is much better. The biggest difference is in the spine tilt. He has his spine tilted over 11 degrees more than you. So the only thing I would do to actually improve on your posture on the right, your swing here, is to tilt over even further. And that'll make it easier for those hands to just hang right under your shoulders but still be far enough away from your leg that you don't feel like they're in the way. Here's Rory McIlroy. Again, his hands are right under his shoulders like yours are now. He has a very similar flex in his knees, so he's not over squatting. He does tilt over a little bit more than you do. He's tilting over more like what Grant did, not quite as much as what Tiger did. So far with Rory, Tiger, and Grant, the biggest difference now in your setup on the right is that you don't tilt over as much. What you have in your legs is pretty close, and where you have your hands hanging under your shoulders is pretty close. And so the only thing I would recommend is we're just going to add a few more degrees of tilt in your spine, and that'll help even more.
I'm not making these changes so that you look better. I'm making these changes so you play better. Now, there'll be other things that sabotage you, even though you've got a better start. We'll address those when they appear. I do want the arms, I don't want the elbows bent like putty. I want those extended.
Okay.
Very dynamic extension in the arm, particularly the left arm. I don't mind. A lot of people have this softer, but that one's pretty extended. That's part of the radius of your golf circle. Okay. What I'm adjusting right now is your 1 position. I'm now going to adjust your 10th position. That's what you should look like at the very end.
Okay.
Good. You can do that in your living room while you're watching. Good. Hold it right there so your elbows are high. Got to get all the way through. Do that a few more times for me. And when you're finished, you're going to be watching the ball going to your target. So you're not going to be still trying to hang back here. I want you finishing tall and dynamic and seeing your shot. All right, balls.
That's a lot of pressure on your ankle. Or at least I'm feeling it, yeah.
What you'll find most pros do, and I recommend this for everybody, is flare that. I actually like flaring your both toes a little bit,
Yeah.
but the left one makes a little bit more. That takes a little pressure off your ankle because it allows you to rotate your weight into the front of the ankle instead of the side of the ankle a little bit.
Yeah.
You get a picture in your mind that you're swinging to. You're swinging to that pose. I don't care how well you hit the ball. Don't worry about that. Pose. Pose. Good. The good and bad is based on how well you pose. Now, gymnastics class is form now. We'll get the performance later. We're going to get the form now. Good. Okay. And it looks like you're swinging about a 4.
Yeah.
I want you to swing a 7.
Okay.
I want some good attacking speed to your perfect finish. Yeah, that's what I want. So be aggressive with a good pose.
I don't know where it went, but it felt good.
You didn't see it? Man, that's a beautiful high draw. Beautiful shot. Swing aggressively to the pose. It pushed it, but it was trying to draw left a little bit on the end there. There is a perfect number in tempo for you. 1 through 10, but it's not a 10, we know, and it's not a 1. It's some number in between. Let's say hypothetically that 7 was the perfect number for you. If that's true, that means 8 is wrong.
Okay.
But it also means 6 is wrong.
Right.
Okay? That was solid. All right. Those last three were hit solid in the same direction, just wrong direction. So let's talk about why that happened and how can I get those same shots to go straight.
Yeah.
Let's start with what I do know before I try to analyze what I don't know. Here's what I do know. I know that wherever this face is pointing will determine where the ball goes. Where it starts. And since I'm seeing it start right, I know the face is open at impact. So you're setting up with it square, but at impact it's open. So some part of you is not doing their job of squaring this up. Now, the body rotation plays a role in squaring it up, but so do the hands a little bit, and the forearms a little bit. There is a little bit of a rolling that should occur, not excessively. It's not some sort of an excessive thing, but it's a soft roll. You're holding your club in your left hand in what we call a weak position. You might have heard weak grip, strong grip, neutral grip. Those are not descriptions of strength. They're just labels for rotational positions. A weak position is when it's rotated this way too much, counterclockwise too much. Having a super strong position is rotating it clockwise too much. And you're set up a little too weak. You may be under the impression that your thumb should be right on top. It should not. It should be to the side. I want this crease pointing somewhere between your ear and your shoulder, back shoulder.
Okay, right on.
So you don't have an athletic problem, you have a geometry problem. We're fixing the geometry. A little better?
Yeah.
Little draw?
Yeah.
Good ball.
Sounded good.
A little skinny, but
Yeah.
good shot.
Still went straight.
Yep. Just continue a little bit on the left hand. When you grip it with the left hand, if let's say there was 100 fundamentals to a golf swing, and somebody asked me, says, Tom, out of the 100 fundamentals, which is number one? I would have to think a little bit. This one may not be number one, but it certainly would be in my top 5. And that's where you put this right there. The heel of the left hand is critical, that it be positioned correctly on the club. A golf swing it's leverage. Leverage require fulcrums. This is the fulcrum for the golf swing. That's the boulder that's under the rock. And you sometimes get a little bit too much in the lifeline with your handle, and you don't get that pad on top.
Okay.
See, my palm, I'm gripping it in my fingers, and I'm setting that there, but this handle's not touching the palm.
Oh yeah, I totally put that in the
Oh.
there.
So I want you to grip it in the fingers and so it looks more like that. It's going to give you a lot more leverage. Does that feel different? Oh yeah, that is super. In fact, if you can see, man, I can kind of hinge that up and down pretty effortlessly. If you put it in here, it's harder. That may be the best shot you
I'll
get.
take that.
Now we've got our work with the left hand is done. That looks really good. Yeah, I like it. Man, that is awesome.
That's good.
That is awesome.
Okay.
You're a new guy now.
Like just roll them up on a tee
All of us.
out there.
Here we go. Twist is my command. Wow.
I'll
Wow.
take that.
That shot had character.
Okay.
All right.
That's enough for me to remember the next few days.
Very good.